move on to the public, I would just like to rejig very quickly, if we don't mind, and fast forward very quickly across to the part in number 6 where we say Northiam Parish Council apologises to its residents. Now, before I make that apology, I'd just like to make it clear that the apology that I am giving, we as a council are giving, is purely for the fact that for certain time we have potentially not followed procedures as we should have. That is what I'm apologising for. I would like to take it separate that I am not apologising for any previous council or any wrongdoing that any previous council with regard to procedures may have done. It's purely for the fact that we may have followed certain procedures. Following on from that, I would also, separate to the fact that I am the chair of the council, on a personal note as well, I would like to suggest that actually there is some form of higher level investigation that is looked into any procedural issues that we may have had, dating back to previous councillors, our council and everything. And I would like to hope that my fellow councillors support me in that. We need to know if there's been any wrongdoing at any point within the council, and if it has been, where it has come from. Now, I'm not suggesting that anything is on a criminal level. We don't have evidence to suggest that. However, something has been a little bit adrift somewhere, I'm sure. We've had lots of up and downs, lots of people questioning things, and I personally would like to draw a line under that, find out what's gone wrong, where it's gone wrong, why it's gone wrong, put that to bed so that we can move on as a council and fully follow every procedure that should be followed. Now, can I have a vote for that, please? Is everyone happy for that to go ahead?
Who would carry that out?
We're looking at options at the moment. Should any criminal behaviour be suggested or proven, then that is obviously something that would be forwarded to the police, but at this moment we would just be taking it to a higher level than ourselves to investigate. Okay, can I have a show of hands for everyone to help with that?
Well, I'm not apologising for anything.
We're not apologising, Carol. What we're saying is that potentially procedures haven't been followed, and whether we like it or not.
This has gone on a long time now, and I don't think we should be carrying the buck.
As I just said, we're not, Carol. I'm apologising just for any procedures that may have not been followed by ourselves, but I would like to...
Yeah, and I think that should be carefully limited as well.
Absolutely, it's going to be any investigation that will be done will be fully transparent to everyone of the parish, because everybody needs to know what's gone wrong, if anything's gone wrong, how and why.
I really think we should learn lessons from this.
Absolutely, and that's why we're doing it, to extract from it what's gone wrong, how it's gone wrong, why it's gone wrong. You know, if it's a particular person or a particular group of people, who has gone wrong. So we need to establish that so that we can actually move forward as a council that is here for our parish, I think. Is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Show of hands, please. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Apologies, everybody. If we could just move on to open to the public, please.
If you don't mind.
Hello, Penny.
Just before we get into that, could we have the first things that are on the public? Could we have the K6, I'm sorry, do you mind? Could we have the K6 lady first and then the reports and then if people want to make other comments?
Alright, sorry Penny, thank you.
Yes.
That was my fault because I rejigged. So, K6 skills, hello. Okay, so back over to public. Apologies, sorry for Penny.
Right.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, regarding the 54k, for anyone that's not fully aware, the 75k loan which is taken out, 50,000 is paid annually through the precept, and 25,000 is paid from the site, which makes £75,000 a year. If you look at the blue space, item 6, the 54k was raised to protect residents from a shortfall from any income from the St Francis Field site. It was originally 100k. The exact purpose of the funds that you haven't noted was legally raised by the Precept Council Tax in 2017, specifically to cover any income shortfall from the site. It's not unrestricted. It was noted in the 22-23 AGAR, it was a reserve, and that's what it's there for. Any documentation that anybody wants regarding the 100k audit trail, how it's raised, anything. If anybody wants to email me, I can send them, so it's not a problem at all. So the 22 AGAR actually, which was signed by Georgina, actually states the reserve is there. So it was there. It was there. The loan was set up in order that no further public spending should be used on the site. And Pete Sargent was very demonstrative about that. Kept telling people at every meeting, no further money should be spent by the public on the site. We're raising the 50k through the precept and the 25,000 will be raised by the site. Unbeknown to everybody, members of the public, other members of the parish council at the time, Pete and Hampton have actually organised the loan whereby the whole amount will be paid by the precept, annually 75k. Now that's happening this year. 25,000 is been loaned on the precept. It's not really how it was arranged to be done. So that's what's happened this year's council tax. The money's been restored. The reason why you can't find the expenditure is because you haven't had management accounts since George and Julie left. That's a monthly analysis that should show income and expenditure against budget, so that the amounts that are raised are actually allocated to the right colour code. You haven't had that since you guys have been in the council. That's why you can't find out where the money's gone. So the 54 residue was a safety net. You say you don't know, you apologise for where it's gone, you don't know where it's gone. Well, if you look at page 7, item 17, there's 3,200 being transferred this month to the CIC. Now, if you have money ringing around that you haven't got any justification for, if you've been spending 2 to 3 grand a month, bits and pieces, that's 38 grand over the last 2 years that could have just disappeared into the ether. So I think you really do need to look at those payments that were coming in that were not against budget. That's where the money's gone, and that's where we need to look to find it.
Thank you, Penny. Noted. Can I just note that I was apologising for the fact that potentially procedures haven't been followed, so hence why I'm suggesting that there is an investigation. Those are the sorts of things
Just need to look back.
into.
Just need to look back at all those payments that weren't made outside the budget. That's where your money's gone.
All right. Thank you, Penny. Is there anyone else that I can? Hello. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. CIC letter. Obviously, once you've written your platitudes as a council and want to distribute it to the rest of the village, please do send it on to me. I'll make sure it goes on Facebook for us all to comment on. I just want to ask about that though. Has the parish council considered exactly what this all means? If the CIC is handing over its rentals that it has, do you know what terms the CIC have rented stuff out? Are you going to be inheriting, for instance, something that is imminently about to end or imminently about to cost you a lot of money? Do you know what it is they are renting out? All of this stuff, this is, it's been stuff that has not been noted before or logged with the parish council. So there's that. And also, I welcome your statement at the start. I think there does need to be an investigation in this stuff. Just out of interest though, how many items were raised to the external auditor that they didn't uphold?
None.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
I don't normally do this, as you know, but just in response, the council are aware, and have been for some time, there is no rental coming to the CIC for any units, just for the benefit of the public.
Thank you.
And just while we're at it, the rental is has been diminishing anyhow. I don't think there will be any rental income next year. Is that correct?
Sorry, could you say that again?
No, I don't think there's going to be any rental income. Well, certainly a couple of people who were renting have finished their interest in renting, so I don't think there'll be
No
much.
further rental can be done until this change of use.
Yes,
Do you know the state of the property before the the CIC started renting it out compared to the state of it now, that kind of thing. Do you know what the state of the property was before the CIC started renting it out to who knows who, compared to now? Is there remedial work that needs to be done to it? Is there any fixing up that needs to be done? Are the CIC under any obligation to contribute to that since they've benefited from it over the past however many years?
All things to bear in mind for sure. Thank you, Ben. Is there anyone else? Hello, Mr. Biggs.
It's the member of the public, not councillor.
It's the mister.
Thank you. It says now here, rules are muddied by the fact there was no budget balance for the running costs or maintenance costs of St Francisville since April 2020. Before St Francisville was purchased, I attended various council meetings and I asked two councillors what the planned maintenance was for the St Francisville and what the business plan was for St Francisville. And these two particular councillors said, don't worry about it, it'll all be sorted. Well, surely they should have thought about that in 2017. Not start jumping up and down now, there's no budget for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello. Just a couple of things. When you've done your investigation
Yeah.
and you found that some of you are at fault, does that mean you resign?
Well, I mean, it's all really very much dependent on
I'm just
what
asking,
our
does that-
findings are,
No,
Carolyn.
if you find that some of you are at fault, does that mean that those people will resign? Is that a simple question, yea or no?
I mean, if I were to have done wrongdoing, Carolyn, I would resign. Let me tell you that.
Next point is, I would like to know, I mean, my simple brain works like this, obviously. The person that set up the CIC,
Yeah.
no normal person who has a business or has land would put a management in and say to them, keep all your money and do what you want with it. Why is that allowed to carry on? Being that the financial state that this village is in, because we have to keep paying for that site.
That's a point.
You wouldn't do it, nobody would do it. Just the laughing stock.
Well, we are looking at moving things forward and changing things, Carolyn.
It has to.
Going back in all the years that I've attended the meetings, it was always told me by certain councillors directly, the CIC and be set up, they were going to manage the whole of the St Francisville estate and the parish council would have nothing to do with it. I asked that particular councillor at the time, who were the people that was going to be on the CIC, and they told me, oh yeah, we've got these people, they're going to manage it. Okay, so that was always the plan. So I don't think that the council have just given these people, group of people as you're saying, carte blanche to go away and do. It was always the plan, right from when I went to every single meeting, told various times, it's going to be nothing to do with the parish council. I don't recall you was at those meetings, Karen.
It doesn't matter
You
whether I was
wasn't
at
there,
those meetings
and
or
I
not.
know, and it was
A landlord does not dip into his
own.
own pocket and pay for his own bills.
Okay, ladies, we're not going to argue about this. What we are going to say is that going forward there is going to be investigation into things, and things within the parish council are going to change. Things with regards to the CIC and our management agreements and our committees are going to change. Going forward, we are going to look at what's gone wrong because we don't want that going wrong anymore and again.
Just one thing, I was at a lot of meetings and went to a lot of sideshows and saw it all.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Steve.
I'm just answering Ben's question about is there anything that needs maintenance or put back?
Yeah.
As it comes up to maintenance, it has been done by the volunteers. So the roof of the stables that got blown off, we did the repairs to that, we're doing the repairs to guttering, and on general sort of basis, if something is broken, we mend it. At no cost to the parish council. And usually the materials come through the CLC. Sometimes we will ask for funding to pay for certain things that we can't buy.
Thank you. Steve.
Just in response to that, what about the insurance claim that was put in for the roof of that blew off?
That was when it really blown off badly. It did come off once since then, with the other wind, and we put it back on without going to the insurance claim. So there was no loss of...
But the money that the CIC makes is supposed to be spent on St Francis Fields. So it's not something that everyone should be wonderfully grateful for the CIC in donating its money or whatever. That is the purpose of its money.
No, I'm not saying that then. I'm saying
Okay, gentlemen, I will say, as I said to the ladies, we're not going to be arguing about it. Everyone has very valid points, everyone is entitled to their point and their opinion. And let's hope that our investigation comes to the bottom of everything.
Just a quick one.
Sorry, John's just jumped up.
Is there a time scale on your investigation?
At the moment, John, I haven't put a time scale on it because if I'm totally honest with you, this is something that I've literally just voiced this evening with everybody, but it is something that we will look into straight away.
Sure, thank you.
Tony,
I'll do it again.
please do.
How far back are we going?
As far back as we need to, where the
So we
issues
go back
are.
like to 2015 when the council lost the...
If we need to. Yeah, we go back as far as we need to find any issues.
That's obviously whether the 60 grand has come out of parish council insurance, or whether the parish council had a reserve fund in, and the reserve fund got wiped out. So that's something issue because what you're saying is there's been no reserve fund, and it was highlighted when I was on the council, there's no reserve fund, by Deborah Upton. And obviously the parish council was trying to keep the parish precept as low as possible, so that's why there was no reserve fund, obviously. We got to a certain stage where there was money in St Francis Field account, the 100k and all that. There was no money in the village precept, the village was basically bankrupt. And it was after that, I think you find Georgina, money started being transferred across to get a reserve fund. So you might need to check right back there.
Well, let's look into it because the long and short of it is they say if something's not broken, don't try and fix it. Well,
No, I'm saying that's
we need to fix
You
what's
can go
going
as far
on.
back as you can, so you can go right back. So
Yeah.
then obviously it's going to go back affect quite a lot of councils, me included as well.
Well, whoever it affects includes, unfortunately, that's the way it's going to have to roll, I'm afraid. Sorry. Okay, is there anybody else?
Yeah, just one thing.
Thank you.
On the St Francis Field running costs and maintenance, it's all wrote out, it's 50,000 over 4 years. It's about £1,000 a month. That is a lot of money when you work that out. It's all down in Ian's paperwork.
Thank you. I think it does.
One point,
Please.
we missed it tonight as well. We do not have any more income from the stables,
No,
which we
quite.
did have,
Yeah.
which was quite a nice chunk of money.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the tenant decided that she had enough and she left. And that has put a big hole
Massive.
in St Francis.
Hence why we need to get that
So that
change of use in
really
to
is
get that
something
sorted
I
out.
need to say.
No, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, return money, we spent all doing other funders.
Yeah.
Well, everything's, once we've got all of the information, everyone's going to know exactly where we're at, aren't they? And that's what I think everybody needs to be. Hello.
Hi Michelle, has everyone finished with the financial kind of questions? I don't want to jump in.
I mean, this is public, so entirely what okay, so on to the finances. Statement with regard to earmarked reserves and general reserves since first date of 2020. So, obviously, following a request from external auditor to track the earmarked funds since the acquisition of St Francis Field, I've been hoping that you've all seen the chart that was provided. So we had to just note that the sums shown for SSF. Do you want me to do this here or do you want to take over from this bit? Funds are taken from the Ministry of Scribe and Accounting and these cannot be relied upon. With regard to the earmarked funds for St Francis Field, it's very difficult to track what these have been used for, as much depends on what is believed the exact purpose of the funds. This varies from only being used to cover the shortfall in the loan repayments to covering all costs whilst St Francis Field becomes self-sustaining. Waters are muddied by the fact that there are no budget allowance for the running maintenance costs of St Francis Field since April 2020 and begs the question as to how these costs were covered. Additionally, April 2020.
Still should have a budget.
Still should read a
You
budget.
still have a, yeah, that's the procedural aspect. There was a budget. Yeah. Yes, but the thing is,
Lockdown's a lot to answer for. I don't think we can actually fall on that.
I think that the procedural side is that you haven't had quarterly monitoring
You haven't had an end of year report at which it says this is how much, in a much more understandable fashion, what has been spent against each budgeted item, and something that's a bit more understandable than those 5 sheets. And finally, at that point, there has been no comment on what's actually been left over at the end of the year. So what was your actual emergency general reserve? That's not been commented on. And it should be in your minutes, but it should be on some sort of report. So if anyone has something like that, then they should hand it in.
Did you have the report, the thing that Deborah Upton wrote about?
I come across to, but there's no proper figure work. It's like a little bit of, it's like one of these. Lots of words and no figures.
It is, everything has to be factual and
it's the missing all the figures parts.
And that's
every
the
time I
important
look, it's the figures that are missing. This is how much we said we're going to spend on that, and that's how much we actually spent. It does come in the scribe thing, but there's no annual end of year report where you should be saying, well, in the end, we spent on the SFF so much on dog bins, we spent so much, we thought it was going to be that, but RDC put in some extra large fees for dog bins. So we weren't expecting that. You should have a report that tells you what happens about each report. You should have the recreation ground. We didn't realise it was going to be a massive, great big hole that year, so we had to use some of our reserves to cover that. And then, therefore, at the end of the year, when you're considering what your council tax collection is, you'll say, well, it was massive. We had to spend £10,000. That's halved our emergency budget. Emergency reserve, so we have to collect the £10,000 back. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something as detailed as that, because that is what you consider a financial report.
So the question I have then, councillors, no councillor that I've known that I've seen, I mean, no non-parish councillors, but actually accountants or something like that. So they don't look, you can't, I don't think it's expected that every single councillor know in detail every penny that goes in and out.
No, but that's so many. No. So in our other councils that we work for, you'd be intrigued to find that in spite of us doing a load of legwork, there's always one of them who sits down and does it for themselves. And even if they don't have every single penny, they know. So I go to my other councils and they know exactly how much there is in reserves. They kind of know themselves, and even if they didn't have the financial reports because they weren't used to it, they all know. I've always been quite impressed, and they've known. Because the thing is, as councillors, if you get it really wrong, you are joint and severally responsible. That's financially. That is financially. If your insurance doesn't cover you and it's massively wrong and you're all found to be at fault or something like that, and you were taken to court by someone or by some other body, whatever it is, and your insurance doesn't pay, it's joint and several unless one person is specifically indicated. That is what makes councillors know exactly what they're doing.
People going forward being councillors, then they're thinking, well, I don't know. So maybe there's not going to be many people that will come through.
Well, that is
level of knowledge.
Yes, exactly. But you don't know. The thing is, when you become a new council, you should go off to training. That's why everyone, as a council, is supposed to have a training budget. Off you go. They give you general explanation. You can go as many times as you like. It's actually recommended. There isn't a limit on your training budget for councillors because you are everyday ordinary people. They don't expect that. So there is an allowance in law for volunteers. There always is. But you can't, you have to come in, and there is a learning process. For a district council or an East Sussex county council, when they join up, they spend a month, every single day, all day long, being taught this stuff. And then it happens every year. They get a review. And this is what should be happening in parish councils as well. Because of that aspect, you need to know more. And I mean, it's just like, so if someone doesn't pay any attention, I'd be really surprised, because are you telling me you'll go around with, oh, I've only got £10, but actually I've got a £100 bill to pay tomorrow. I'll still spend my £10.
Everyone budgets their own household. So are you saying then every councillor needs to know everything about accounts, everything about money?
No, you need to know everything about the council's accounts. There should be no councillor saying, oh no, you can't be finding out about that. Every councillor has a right to find out. And if any questions are asked, they should be all give them the information. There's no way anyone should be told, oh no, you don't need to know that because you're not on this
I think
committee, you're not
historically
that.
that has been the issue though, Mary, is that without the information and the knowledge, people don't know how to do things. So, you know, going forward, that's what we're going to have to do. We'll have to look into it.
Well, yes, I mean that is true. It does make it very busy for you, and that's why you have members of staff who's supposed to do all the paperwork. So you could just do the reading. A councillor's job is a massively reading job, and so therefore they get a bit bored and generally want to do something a bit more active as well. And you're already supposed to be out in the community hearing what everyone else says. So it's quite a busy job. One of the reasons why I say when you're a councillor, you shouldn't do more than one other thing in your village because of the time. But some people love it, but it's not for everyone.
Okay. So additionally, the legal requirements to hold general reserves, emergency reserves has not been met. When reserves have reached a low level or been exhausted, these have not been replaced as part of the council tax taken for the following year. To agree that Northiam Parish Council and previous Northiam Parish Councils as a corporate body has since the 1st of April 2020 failed in its duty to manage public money properly and has not been monitoring or correctly monitoring spending, in particular of earmarked funds and general reserves, and thereon has not budgeted appropriately. In light of the above and contrary to the agreed allocation to the St Francis Field Fund of £54,000 in autumn 2024, to agree that any funds earmarked for St Francis Field have now been spent. Thus, there will be no St Francis Field earmarked fund at the end of the current financial year.
And that includes the Kickstart Fund. So don't start thinking, oh, there's the 100,000 has gone, and the Kickstart Fund, which came out of the 100,000. Don't think that's still going. That's going as well. So that's an addition. I realise that some people might think, well, the Kickstart Fund is not. Well, I don't know where it came from.
The Kickstart Fund, was it not the result of, because we've got £1.4 million, which wasn't all spent, and there was some money left over from that, which I think became the Kickstart Fund. It wasn't anything to do with the 100,000. It was.
Well, the thing is, when you start looking at the figures, right? The first year you bought the property before and you didn't even charge any precept towards the public works loan. You had a £21,000 payment to the public works loan. There was no precept. The next year you spent 42,000, all 42,000, all on the bungalows. The following year, you spent 27,000 on SFF. Outside, the 27,000 is outside of the public works loan payment. The 42,000 is outside of the public works loan payment. So, I mean, the money has probably been spent. I feel pretty confident that the money is being spent and it has been spent on the SFF. For those of you who don't like the SFF, and you might be pleased that a small amount might be spent on the village.
Okay.
But there is no money missing. No money's been spent on anything.
No, there is no evidence that any criminal behaviour has happened, however. Okay, so once again I will say that the Northiam Parish Council is apologising to the residents purely for the fact that procedures within our term up until getting Mary in have not been potentially followed correctly as they should have done. It is, but regardless, I guess it's time, isn't it? And that's what I'm apologising
I think it's also unfortunate that there's that big court case that cost the council then.
Well, no, but the thing is, you had all the money, you had all your money in 2020. At the end of 2020 year, so on the 31st of March 2020, you had 100,000 in your SFF fund. You had something that could be reserved, considered a reserve, okay one. You also held restricted funds of 36 or so, I can't remember exactly, for the, what was it, playing fields from the S106 money, Donfield. You also held that. Yeah, you had additionally enough money that could be considered a general reserve. And it's just gone.
councillors along the way didn't put enough up on their precept to cover stuff. Yes, it hasn't just gone into thin air, it's been paying stuff.
No, it hasn't gone into thin air, it has gone against stuff, and that's the thing,
And
because
there was a time when the whole of, the council and St Francis Field, which should have been kept separate, were amalgamated together, which should never have happened. All put together.
But that doesn't really matter when you're looking at the figures as a whole.
That's because you want to know, don't you? If you have two properties, say, you're not going to, it don't really matter, because you're going to want to know what's
sorry, I don't mean that.
You need to have it separated,
Yeah.
and that's what should have happened. But it was all amalgamated.
So when you are doing accounting, whether it's in bank A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, however many banks, when you have it, you just have a piece of paper. So that, you see, this is once again more proof of why it was so important to have quarterly accounting reports, because you are just going, oh, it's bank, it's all together. You just look at the piece of paper and say, okay, that's the total in the banks on paper, because you can't have this, there's this new thing about not getting your money back after 85,000 in a bank. So if you've got loads of money, you might have one pot of money which is restricted to something across more than one bank. So on the piece of paper, the financial quarterly report will say, that's the total, now actually look at what it's for. It's for this, it's for this, how much are you spend against that? This is the importance of the financial.
If those accounts were in order, then we took on as council, we would have continued that and we would have looked at it and monitored it along the way.
It would help.
was never there. It's never there, it hasn't been for a long time. So this
Hence
is the
why we
crux
need
of
to
it.
find out where it's
This
gone,
is the
Carol.
crux of it.
Yeah, it's
That's why I think it's so important to find out where it's gone. No one's laying it on us. No one's laying it on us, and that's what I'm saying. That's why
I've got documentary evidence.
Yeah, but this,
going way back, so
Carol, this is why I think it's really important that we go all the way back to find out how, when, why.
I've got a lot of paperwork, don't worry about that.
Fabulous, we'll leave that. We will. It should be noted that the council employees cannot be held responsible because the law lays the responsibility for the council's financial position on the corporate body, that is the parish council. So, response to external auditors.
Do we need to formally accept the apology from this council?
Oh, yes, do you agree to apologise?
Yes, I think we need to.
Okay.
May I ask my fellow councillors, does everyone agree to an apology to the parish for our term up until Mary and Ian joined us, that perhaps procedures may have not been followed as they should have? Agreed?
Sticking in my throat, sorry.
What, that you don't think that there are procedures that we potentially may have not followed correctly?
We wasn't aware of it.
It doesn't matter, we should have been aware of them. As a council, we should have made ourselves aware, and if we weren't aware of them, then we should have been aware of them, and we haven't followed them correctly. For whatever reason we haven't, may have not. And that's, I think, you know,
It needs to be minuted in such a way, because I don't want to public out there feeling that we have let them down.
okay, so if you bumped into someone in the street, and let me go like really basic, if you walked along the street and you bumped into someone in the street and you didn't know that they were there, would you go, oh sorry? How is it? You're saying we didn't know, so we may have not done it, and I agree with you, we didn't know. And you know, there was a level of ignorance there that, or whatever, that we didn't know, but the fact remains that unfortunately, as corporate body of the parish council, procedures may have not been followed. And I, for one, feel like I need to say, you know, I'm sorry that I haven't looked into that deeper as I should have done.
I'm prepared, yeah, because we're saying that we haven't looked into we haven't.
Correct.
Exactly. So I'm prepared to apologise.
Okay.
Was that everybody in the end?
Is everybody in support of that? Show of hands, please.
Thank you.
I get it, Carol. I get where you're coming from, but
I think there's more than personal issue to go on.
well, this is why I'm trying to make sure it doesn't become a personal vendetta. That's why I need to make sure that there are facts.
Someone ought to tell Trevor Lego that when he gives his introduction talk to new councillors, he stresses far more
Absolutely.
the financial side of it, because I can't remember.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
And if we've got the notes, we would give them.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I was there, he didn't. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Julian. So, back to the response from the external auditors regarding challenges made to the 23-24 financial year annual return. The external auditor has asked for a formal response from the council on the following matters. 1, objection 1A and B regarding assertion 1. Objection 1A and B is as follows. The response given to assertion 1, governance section 1, and the 23-24 AGAR due to the council's management of its revenues. Reserves. The council's failure to carry out adequate budget monitoring during the year.
That's what we've apologised.
Yeah, we just...
These are the official, you have to agree these responses, yeah.
Okay, so the response, Northiam Parish Council has not correctly managed reserves nor carried out adequate budget monitoring during the year and therefore should have responded in the negative. Okay, we all agree with that, okay? Note for 24-25 year, the assertion 1 response will be no for the reasons above as budget monitoring and noting reserves level as not being adequate in frequency. However, procedures are being put in place. And I would like that to be noted that we are putting procedures in place and we are now following the correct procedures as we should be.
Thank you to Mary Ann.
Absolutely, yeah, as I said earlier. Objection 2 regarding assertion 2, governance section 1. Objection 2 is as follows. The council's failure to comply with its financial regulations in respect of the tender process and the sports pavilion contract. Response, there is no building contract for the sports pavilion, but the production of plans and payment of these agreed at February 2024 meeting did not comply with the council's financial regulations. The Northiam Parish Council has already recognised that an adequate system of internal control was not in place and has already responded with no.
Please say that the second tender for the plans was obtained from RS Architects.
Note, more care will be taken to ensure that financial rules are adhered to.
Do you want me to add that we did get a second one?
Yeah. Procedures are being...
Mary, I sent it to you.
Today?
I sent the paper that I sent. That was at the meeting today.
Okay, I saw that earlier, yes.
Yeah, I got a quotation from RS Architects, and I calculated based on the RIBA and percentage level and an estimated cost, an alternative price as well. And the 750 was remarkably low.
Okay, are you councillors with that piece of information? Because I thought I saw an RS quote, but I couldn't find it when I looked. Are you still happy with that response? Because in reality, there may have, it's a bit odd that you'd be asked about payment in this current financial year when the AGAR challenge is about completed financial year, which is a little bit odd, which is why I could. Yeah, so.
I'm not sure it was recorded. That's my only concern.
Okay, right. Well, yes, there's the point.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, fine.
I would like it expanded that there was alternative quotes were provided.
But it was not limited.
Okay, so procedures are being considered to assist and review of the regulations will be annually a part of our parish council annual meeting. Are you all happy with that? Yeah. Okay, objection 3 regarding box 6, accounting statement, section 2. Objection 3 is as follows. Objection to the expenditure during the year on skip hire to clean rubbish from land the previous tenant had failed to clear and the repayment to the same tenant of their deposit despite this issue. So, response. In light of the strong possibility of legal action, which would cost more than that full deposit and any outstanding bills and repairs, Northiam Parish Council agreed to refund the deposit in full. In August 2024, not the 23-24 financial year, Northiam Parish Council agreed to a skip hire for rubbish on St Francis Field site to be taken away as a public event was being held on the site, including stables. Are you all happy with that?
Yeah, again, this year, it's not, why is this part of an AGAR challenge when it's this year, not the previous year?
Well, I just thought it would be easier, because every time if I ring, it's a bill.
Yeah.
So I just thought we'll answer the question.
It's better to get it done and over with and answered now than it just coming back up again.
Oh, no, it is part of the AGAR challenge, yeah, it is part of the AGAR challenge. I was a bit surprised, but They must know what they're doing, so we're not.
Well, they brought it up, we need to answer it. Objection 4 regarding box 7, accounting statement, section 2. Objection 3, that says. Objection 4 is as follows.
Thank you.
The level of reserves at the end, the year end. Northiam Parish Council has not correctly managed reserves, nor carried out adequate budget monitoring during the year. That is our response. Are we happy with that?
Yes.
5, objection 5 regarding boxes 8 and 9, accounting statement section 2. Objection 5 is as follows. Objection to the levels of cash and investments held at the end of year. Response, Northiam Parish Council can only confirm that the amounts are those that are held in our bank accounts.
And that's, I can't really
We
say
can't say
anymore. I
anymore,
don't really
can
know, yeah, so.
So it should be noted that the cost of any challenge regarding the annual return has to be brought by the Parish Council. It's likely that the bill for this challenge will be around 2,500, as in another earlier year, depending on the financial position at the end next year end in 2026. The cost of this challenge may have to be covered by increasing the precept 26-27. As challenges to the accounts have been made for several years, the budget allocated for this will need to be raised to 3,000 and will therefore be part of the council tax paid by residents.
So please answer the question, just to clarify this then, am I correct to say, every time a resident challenges, it costs the council money?
Yes.
Which then, that money goes back to the residents, have to pay in their precept.
Correct.
So the people that are asking those questions need to think about that, I think. Yeah, fine, I'm up for open transparency and anyone can ask me whatever, I don't mind. But the people that keep asking the questions need to understand that it's not coming out of our pockets individually, mine or any of you around the table, it's coming out of the residents' pockets.
Yeah.
So I'd just like that to be clarified, yeah, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so on to number 8, finances to note and payments to authorise. February payments and receipts.